four-time Super Bowl champion, three-time Super Bowl MVP, number 16, the great Joe Montana. Joe and Evan in New York, how are you?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Great. And Joe Montana fits the bill as the quarterback's coach on the GetInTheGame.com.
Pretty good quarterback coach.
App that you could download. You get the app for free. You put it on your iPad, iPhone, iPod. It came out today. And Joe Montana will teach you the techniques of being a quarterback. And that's a pretty darn good teacher to have, don't you think?
Yeah, I would say so. Joe, it seems like it's 2 minutes ago that, your career ended. All those great years with the 49ers, then you wind up going to Kansas City. You even took the Chiefs to the AFC Championship game. I think it was in '93. You lose to Buffalo. But does it seem that been out of football now as long as you have?
No, it doesn't. Unfortunately, it just feels like yesterday, like you said. The game is so funny to you. I mean, it's so addicting when you're in it that it's really I don't know why. It should feel like it was over the 15 years it's been, but holy cow, it doesn't feel like that at all.
Is there one moment that jumps out, and you've had so many with all the championships you won in San Francisco, and Joe just mentioned about leading the Chiefs to the AFC title game. Is there one moment that jumps out at you as your favorite?
Well, not really. I enjoyed my career. I enjoyed both places I played. Going to Kansas City was a lot of fun. We had another great team that was there and another great organization. And so I was just happy to be able to continue my career. I knew when I got hurt that it wasn't over, and so I was just happy that I got an opportunity to go on and continue to play. But Super Bowls are always fun, and I wish we'd gotten to one in Kansas City. If we had not lost, I think we lost our last game. That put us to play in Buffalo instead of playing at home in a 50-degree sunny day. Instead, we were in one of those usual Buffalo days up there, and I don't know, I couldn't throw the ball 10 feet. So, but it was fun. We had a lot of fun with it.
You got banged up, I think, in that game, too, didn't you, Joe? I don't know if you even finished that game against Buffalo. Did you? Did you make it through that game completely?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think I ended up with a concussion. I can't remember. That's not a good sign, is it?
I'm going to go with concussion then.
But, I remember getting tackled, and it was one of those kind that, usually you get hit and they don't really hurt, but this one was like a lightning bolt had gone across the inside of from one ear to the other, and that one hurt pretty much.
You mentioned when you got hurt in '92, you knew it wasn't over, but did you know it was over in San Francisco? Did it kind of sink in that I'm going to continue playing, but it's probably not going to be in the place I've played my whole career?
No, not really. When I was coming back, I just figured that, I would get an opportunity to at least compete for the job, which they didn't want to let me do. So that's the main reason I left, is that I just felt that I still should be playing there, and if they don't want to let me play, you know what, I can understand. They move on, I move on. But, everybody gives you a hard time for leaving. But, I just didn't want to sit behind someone that at that point in time I was better than.
We're talking, of course, to the legendary, the great Joe Montana. All right, now I'm going to ask you this now. You said somebody you were better than, and that, of course, somebody was Steve Young. The relationship with Steve Young, Joe, not the greatest. Is that fair to say?
Well, there's somebody after your job. We're friends as friends can be, but when somebody's trying to take something away from you you enjoy, I don't think anyone has a great relationship with the person behind him. Doesn't matter who it was. It's the same with Steve Bono and when they were trying to take the job from me, there was no good feelings when we were playing against each other. On either side, they had the same feeling. Yeah, we liked each other off the field, but when it came on the field, I'm sorry. That's my job, and I'm going to keep it no matter what I got to do.
Now, I know with Brett Favre it was retirement, and with you it was an injury, but do you kind of sense the similarities between the way it ended for you in San Francisco and the way it ended for Brett in Green Bay?
Yeah. To a certain degree, because he could still play, and they had made a decision, and I think a little bit of it was his wavering back and forth. When you start wavering, most of the time organizations they think the worst. Okay, well, if he's not really mentally preparing to come back, he's not going to be the same player. We're not going to get the same guy, so we may as well move on. And they get that in their frame of mind, and they can't. You change your mind and you want to come back and play, they just can't see it. And they just didn't think that I would be the same player here. unfortunately, when I got hurt, I had the best year I'd had statistically, and so it wasn't like I was losing my job because of anything that I had done on the field. So, and that's what was hard for me to understand.
Joe, how much did you hate playing the Giants? Because I tell you right now, I mean, there was some, epic games, certainly in the playoffs between you and the Giants over the years. And let's be honest with this, too. They actually knocked you out of 2 playoff games. The 86 49-3 disaster, and then, the hit in the three-peat game in that 1990 season. I mean, you guys, you had some great games with the Giants, but I don't know if the Niners always loved playing them. Is that fair to say, Joe?
Well, you know what? They're one of the teams, those teams that you come across that, first of all, they had an excellent team, and their defense was like perfect fit against our offense. And so they gave us fits all the time. And then you add guys like LT on top of that.
Yeah, of course, right, right.
And it's just, it makes it more difficult. And yeah, they were just one of those teams that you had fun playing, but you didn't look forward to playing them because you knew it was going to be a grind.
When you met Jerry Rice for the first time from, Mississippi Valley State, did you sense greatness right away? Could you tell Jerry Rice was going to become one of the all-time great wide receivers?
Well, the first day he was having issues catching the football. So, no, we didn't think so right away. Balls were bouncing off of him left and right. But there was something special about him when after he caught the first pass, and he went, and I always use him as a great example of work ethic because wide receivers in practice are taught catch the ball, turn around, and get used to turning up the field and run 5-10 yards. Well, Jerry would run to the end zone. He didn't care how far it was. And, he ended up being in great condition, but then you say, okay, he went and scored touchdowns in practice every time he caught a ball. Is it a coincidence that he's the NFL's all-time touchdown reception leader? You say, no, because that's what he did every day. Every day he worked like that. And he made other people work hard.
Joe, and again, we're talking to the legendary, the great Joe Montana. Joe, we got this, in my mind, absurd lockout going on right now in the NFL. You were playing during the 2 strikes that we had, or whatever you want to call them, the 82 and 87. How difficult was that for you, and how do you correlate it to what you're seeing going on now? I know you haven't missed any games yet, but how about that?
Well, it's just hard. Like I said, everybody, we're playing a stupid game for a living, and we have to realize that. But, when you take it away from them, it's very, very, like I said, it's addicting. It's like quitting cold turkey. All of a sudden there's nothing because you can't just go out and get a pickup. These guys are doing their little things here and there just to try to kind of stay in some semblance of shape and getting used to the guys again. But they just can't wait. And nobody wants a strike. Nobody wants to be locked out. But for the owners, it's a big deal. And how much money they want back, and the players. If it was something reasonable, I'm sure they just want to get back to playing. They want to make it. Yeah, they want to make a fair amount of the money, but they just want to play the game. It's hard. It's hard on the players. Harder on the players than can't. The fans, I don't think, realize how hard it is on the players. Let me put it that way. I don't think they think that it's as hard as it is.
I hope the players realize how hard it is on the fans.
It's pretty hard on us, Joe. I can tell you, no football.
It's hard on the fans, but imagine if you were the one actually playing. Then it's really difficult. Sure. And that's what I mean. It's probably as hard on the players as it is on the fans because the game's taken away from you too, and you guys are there for the enjoyment. Or the fans are there for the enjoyment of the game, and now all of a sudden it's gone, and it shouldn't be.
We're talking to the great Joe Montana. Now, getinthegame.com. You go there. It's free and available on iTunes. You can download this app starting today for your iPad, iPod, iPhone. And we mentioned all the various sports celebrities that are experts, and you watch the video and they teach you the proper techniques. Now, you and A-Rod are the founders of it. Tell us how you and Alex came together to create this.
Well, a friend of mine, Tommy Roush, and I had been together for a long time doing some different things, and he had talked to me about the idea of doing this, and I thought it was great. And he said, well, and what we can do is we can get people like in every industry, whether it's coaches or players, from soccer, from baseball, from football, lacrosse, it doesn't matter. And one of the guys he brought up was A-Rod. And Alex was in town playing one day, and their hotel's about 3 or 4 blocks from mine. And he said, hey, he gave me a call and said, let's have lunch and I want to talk to you about this. So we sat downstairs and had a little lunch, and from that we went forward. And Tommy's been pushing it, and he's been the big push behind it to help us. Obviously, with A-Rod, it's tough for him because he's busy playing, and I'm chasing two boys. So it's been a lot of fun. I think when you look at the names of the people that are involved on their coaching, or we call them coaches now because that's basically what they're doing, is and whether they were a coach or not, or a player. Because we want to help kids, we want to be able to give back. Yeah, we're charging for it, but it's a way to get to more people and let people see what you did, what it takes to be an A-Rod or a Barry Sanders or a coach like Bill Parcells. I mean, those are the things that you want to know. You want to know how they got there, what they do every day, and the fundamentals of those positions, and that's what you get.
You know, Joe, before I let you go, I got to ask you this. Did you really have a chicken soup at halftime of the Cotton Bowl game in '79 against Houston, and when you had that epic comeback in the second half? Was it really, because I know you were sick and I think you were dehydrated and whatever, did you really have chicken soup at the halftime of that game, and that turned it all around?
Well, what happened was I had hypothermia, and in all cold games, there's always either chicken broth or beef broth or something warm in the locker room when you get in there at halftime or before the game. And when I got in there, they wanted to heat my core temperature up from the inside. They said, okay, do you want beef soup, beef bouillon, or chicken bouillon? I said, I'll take the chicken. And that's how it came about. And it was really just to get my body temperature back up to normal so I could go back out and freeze again.
Yeah, you freeze pretty well. I think it was 34-12 at halftime. And what'd you guys win that game? 35-34, I think was the final, Joe?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, we got lucky in the fourth quarter and had the wind. The wind was howling. You couldn't score against the wind. It was very difficult. Unfortunately for us, fourth quarter, we got the wind, and I tried to give the game away a number of times, but they kept giving us opportunities.
And that was the beginning of the legend of Joe Montana, that's for sure.
Well, thanks.
Joe, great having you. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.
All right. Talk to you guys soon.